Vai usar a palavra Sua Excelência, a Comissária Europeia para os Assuntos do Mar e Pescas, Doutora Maria Damanaki.
Prime Minister, Minister, representatives of the countries, members of the Parliament, Deputy Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. I really cannot imagine a better place to launch our European Atlantic strategy than this wonderful city of Lisbon. You have heard from President Barroso the commitment of the European Commission to this maritime approach, the new maritime approach of our economy. So President Barroso already instructed me to say a few words, so I'm trying to be brief. Let's begin with an observation. For years, the Atlantic Ocean, its regions and islands have been seen as the geographic periphery of Europe. We know it is not the case, and it is not fair. The Atlantic plays a critical role in Europe's history and identity. So it was time to act and to offer new perspectives for this sea basin. So the maritime strategy for the Atlantic region is our response. It shows that Atlantic is by no means peripheral to Europe's interests and decision-making. It promotes territorial cohesion and engages international partners on all shores of the Atlantic. It promotes blue growth, namely through the creation of employment and innovation in maritime sectors and coastal areas, while respecting the sustainability of resources. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody can ignore the economic difficulties we are in. I'm sorry to say that Europe is really in a critical situation in this moment of time. But at times as this, we need to have the spirit to seek new opportunities, to find ways out. In the Atlantic coastal communities, there are marine sectors which can lead us out of today's economic impasse. Some are well established, like coastal tourism or fisheries. Others are emerging, like renewable energy. Others still need further support, such as marine biotechnology or minor seabed exploration. So, our blue growth proposal in the strategy takes advantage of specific opportunities of the Atlantic, such as strong winds and powerful tides to create green energy, productive fisheries that can sustain their communities if we fish responsibly, potentially vast seafloor resources to be exploited, opportunities for the tourism industry, including nautical leisure activities, motorways of the sea that can bring new development to ports and coastal regions. For all these sectors, our strategy can come with proposals, opportunities, and investment, money, which is also very, very important. Our integrated approach was already mentioned. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me come with some concrete examples. What is it exactly at the Atlantic strategy? What exactly we propose? What can we expect from the Atlantic Ocean in 2020? Let's suppose that our proposal is already in place and fully implemented. What can we do? Can we make the difference in 9 years' time? I believe we can. And since the President of the Republic invited me to go forward with concrete actions, let me come to actions. First action, offshore energy. The Atlantic powerful winds that have challenged generations of explorers and seafarers are now on our side. The massive expansion of wind power that is already planned will transform our seas. Our next step will be to generate the marine energy from the tides and waves, complementing what we get from the wind. Oceans can provide zero-emission energy. It offers real security of supply. I cannot see anybody cutting off our wind, tides, or waves. We can be safe. So, EU-wide, by 2020, and this is not ideas, this is a plan, a concrete plan, by 2020, ocean energy could generate over 26,000 direct and 13,000 indirect jobs. And by 2050, over 500,000 of jobs directly or indirectly. This is our impact assessment, this is our plan, and we are going to implement it. And by 2020, we aim to see a digital three-dimensional map of the Atlantic, including accessible data on what is in the water, on the seafloor, and below the seafloor. Offshore businesses have told us in Ireland that such a map can improve their competitiveness. So we have to go for it. And it can offer opportunities for young, energetic companies to create new products and services. Making marine data available for seabed mapping and related uses is a task that only EU can deliver. And the economic benefit is already estimated at approximately 3.6 billion over a 10-year period. So there is money there, and we're going to get it. Can we do it? We have to do it. We have to do it if we have in mind that Chinese authorities already give licenses for exploration and mining in the deep seas. I would like also to inform you that polymetallic sulfides, I don't know if you know them, I didn't know either, but now I know, polymetallic sulfides have been precipitated in the mid-Atlantic ridge. Now, we have tested ways of extracting them safely and sustainably. And I want us to understand the peculiar processes that allow life to exist without light, and whether their DNA provides clues that can help in our quest to find new drugs against cancer. We have to create an environment friendly to biotechnology investments through maritime special planning, incentives, and proper funding, of course. In 2020, I would like to see us fishing sustainably in the Atlantic and a substantial increase in our production from fish farms. Fish provides 15% of the world's protein. Of course, you know it, since you are the second biggest consumer. But in 2020, our planet's population will be approaching 8 billion. 8 billion people we are going to demand, we are going to increase demanding for fish. So simple arithmetic tell us that if we don't expand production, if we don't expand aquaculture, someone will be eating less fish. And that means a less healthy diet with all the public health issues that ensue. Another action. By 2020, the increased value of the offshore economy will have increased our vulnerability to the danger of the sea. So it's not only about possibilities, it's also about dangers. And the Prime Minister have already mentioned it. Will we have the ability to defend our aquaculture cages against biological threats, toxic algae, or jellyfish? Will ocean energy platforms or yacht marinas be able to withstand storms like those that came up from Biscay in February last year? How would Europe cope with a triple catastrophe like that which struck the people of Japan in March this year, with earthquake, tsunami, severe nuclear accident? How resilient is our infrastructure? We'll have the early warning systems and rescue teams ready when we need them? It requires preparation. It requires sophisticated technology, but most of all, it requires collaboration between neighbors. Can we do it? Our proposals in the Atlantic strategy is an answer. That is what our strategy is about. After all, by 2020, we want to see our Atlantic ports and coastal communities alive and active. We would like to see the young people no longer leaving the coast for jobs. And the new economy, offshore renewables, aquaculture, mining, all will offer opportunities alongside regenerated traditional ones such as shipbuilding and fishing. Faster broadband communications will mean that Europe's peripheral regions are no longer so peripheral. And this is also about another very important sector. Let us not forget that the Atlantic coastal regions and islands contains a rich and diverse culture, from the still vibrant Celtic culture to your fados. And I would like here to welcome from my heart the recognition of fados as a part of worldwide inheritance. From fados to the EU outermost regions, the historic ports, the mysterious ruins, the wild coastlines of the Atlantic can be enjoyed all year long. 8 millions of European citizens are practicing a nautical sport. There is a waiting list for moorings at many Atlantic marinas, while the nautical leisure activities are increasing. We have to meet the demand for a more active and sustainable maritime tourism. Maybe I have given you the impression that there is a strategy, this is a strategy for the 5 EU countries for the Atlantic: Spain, France, Ireland, United Kingdom, and Portugal, of course. Of course, you will be in the front line, including your outermost territories, but we need a wider engagement. We need to cooperate with other coastal states around the Atlantic: Brazil, Mexico, the United States, Canada, and we need their cooperation because the Atlantic is humanity's heritage. Fishing or prospecting in areas beyond national jurisdiction needs internationally agreed rules. The circulation of the Atlantic has an impact on the climate on both shores of the ocean. Can we be sure that by 2020 we have enough observation in place to understand what is happening to the climate, to have a warning system for sudden changes? I don't think we have any choice. We can and we must. All these targets are in the heart of our policy. And now I would like to inform you that we have taken an important step forward for this policy. The President of the Republic already mentioned it. After 1 year of intense negotiations, our maritime policy is now provided with its own financial framework. We have our own money for this. And this financial regulation for the integrated maritime policy, which has just been approved by the European Parliament and the Council, can give us legs, can give us our interdependence, can give us opportunities to go for the creation of new linkages between the different sectors. The amount is not big. We are living in a crisis time, but it will provide a bridge for the implementation of actions from now until the next financial perspectives. And afterwards, with your help, from 2014, the opportunities will increase. How do we match the tools with the objectives? This is not something that can only be done from Brussels. We need all of you, industrialists, academics, local and national authorities, citizens from all around the Atlantic, to help us define what concrete steps or projects will deliver the growth we need. For this reason, we are going to set up an Atlantic Forum. It will gather opinions, digest them, and deliver an action plan for the beginning of 2013. And then we are going to take our final decisions in a ministerial conference in Cyprus, and we are seeking for your creativity and your ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, our Atlantic Ocean is not only the western boundaries of the European Union, it is also a bridge between all the Atlantic states. The Prime Minister has mentioned your great poet. Let me follow. To finish my speech today, I would like to pick up one verse from Fernando Pessoa's famous poem, O Infante. Fernando Pessoa says, "Que o mare unis, já não separas." The sea is to connect, no longer divide. Let us think of it. Thank you very much.